Hello there, and welcome to another summary video for the GCSE topic of cell biology. In this lesson, we'll be exploring diffusion and how that happens in cells. The key points of this video are going to answer the following questions. What is diffusion, and what factors affect the rate of diffusion? Secondly, we are going to answer how is this necessary and relevant to our topic of cell biology. Early in Key Stage 3, we learned that there's a concept called the particle theory of matter, which describes that everything is made up of particles that are constantly moving. The particle theory helps us understand the physical world around us and also explains the basic ideas of the states of matter as well. Particles in a solid are moving significantly less than those in a liquid, or even less so than those in a gas. It is because particles of matter move that diffusion can occur at all. Think about scents and smells when you spray a scent in one part of the room. Why is it at first you cannot register its scent, but over time you can eventually smell it? Or when you add sugar to the top of your cereal or milk into your tea, how is it that it always spreads somewhat evenly? Well, this is diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Concentration being the relative number of particles or mass in a given unit of volume. In the example of spraying a fragrance in a room, the room itself acts as a container and is the volume in question. Inside the room, there are air particles as well as newly introduced fragrance particles from the spray. Straight from the bottle, you'll have the highest concentration, where all of the fragrance or spray particles are. And over time, those spray particles will diffuse into the air and naturally spread from one specific area in the room to fill the entire room, thus balancing the concentration of spray particles to the rest of the air particles. There are various factors that affect the rate of diffusion, and this ties directly to our understanding of the particle theory. The more the particles can move, the faster they will diffuse. Additionally, the less space or volume there is in the container, the faster the particles can spread and fill the area evenly. Therefore, we can conclude that both temperature and concentration have an effect on the rate of diffusion. Where higher temperatures mean that there's more energy in the particles and therefore they're going to move faster and spread out faster. In the case of concentration, if there's more particles of spray, there's going to be a higher ability for these particles to spread out. Additionally, we find that a larger surface area also provides a faster rate of diffusion. Think about a queue line at a shop. If there are multiple cash registers open, then there's going to be less time spent in the queue because there's more people to serve the customers. If there's only one queue line, however, each person in that queue has to wait for that single person on the cash register to move them through. And if there is a delay in that one register, then there's going to be a longer queue in general. When it comes to diffusion, if there are more points in which your particles can pass through, there's less time actually queuing up for the particles outside to get into the cell. So now this brings us to why this is necessary to our current topic. Our cells are constantly using diffusion to move particles around. Diffusion is described as passive transport, meaning it does not require energy to complete. Cells are highly efficient. They make energy and then use that energy for exactly what is required to survive. So using extra energy to move particles in and out of the cell is not always optimal, especially with gases such as carbon dioxide, which are waste products, and oxygen gas, which is required to make energy in the first place through respiration. Rather, gases are what are going to be commonly diffused in our bodies. Blood carrying oxygen-rich blood can quickly pass the oxygen to our muscles and cells, while the cells begin to pass out carbon dioxide which they produced. As the blood moves towards the lungs, the now carbon-rich blood passes the carbon dioxide into the lungs and picks up fresh oxygen to bring to the cells again. If we required an intermediary step which would require energy, this exchange would definitely not be as quick or smooth, and we would not be able to complete as many physical activities as we do. Please take a moment to add this slide to your notes. As we know now, diffusion is the movement of particles or molecules from high concentration to low concentration, thus balancing the total concentration in a given volume. It is the movement of gas or liquid particles, does not require energy to complete, and common examples include spraying fragrances, diluting tea, or adding colored ink into water. So, in summary, the particle theory of matter states that everything is made of particles, and these particles are in constant but varying degrees of motion, with solids moving the least, basically vibrating in place, and gases moving the most. Secondly, diffusion is the passive transport of particles from an area of high concentration to low concentration. This is effectively trying to spread them out as evenly as possible. And lastly, in biology, we commonly see diffusion in the lungs of animals where gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide are readily exchanged. Thanks again for listening to this video, and we'll see you in the next one.